Well, yes, it is. My name is Anoop Jain, and I'm here tonight to talk to you all about the very normal human condition and experience we all know as pooping. And so the reason I want to talk to you all about this is because 3 years ago, I was in a village in rural India, and I was working there, and I happened to witness about, close to 1,000 villagers defecating outside, and this was something that was extremely troubling. And so I started to do my own research, and I quickly found that there's about 2.5 billion people in the world who are forced to defecate outside on a daily basis. And 650 million of these people live in India alone. And so it was, seeing the people defecating outside coupled with these statistics, which really drove me to start my own organization that builds community toilet blocks and harnesses the human waste to create energy. But I'm not really here to talk to you about that tonight. What I think is going to be a lot more valuable, in fact, is if I try to instill a similar sense of urgency in you all. And in order to do that, I first need to make you care. So I want to start with a quick survey. How many of you all do not poop? Okay, great, okay. So then the data confirms my hypothesis that everyone, in fact, poops. Great. So I want you to remember that, because that's going to be really important later. So let's talk about something else really quickly. So I have this theory that there's two kinds of people in this world. There's the haves and the have-nots. And the reason problems in this world exist is because the haves don't necessarily understand the have-nots. And so what eventually happens is that when the haves try to help the have-nots, they're rendered useless due to their lack of understanding when trying to affect any kind of substantive change. And this is what then ultimately lets the problems persist. So what does this mean in the context of pooping? Well, you all just admitted that you all poop, which is great. So you and 7 other billion people poop. But there is one key difference, and that is everyone in this room has a place to poop. And like I said earlier, there's 2.5 billion people who don't. So that is the difference. You are in the haves, and those people are in the have-nots. So I think all of us have had situations or experiences in our life where we really needed to go, and there was no toilet. And those are really embarrassing moments. They're really tough moments, and we try to repress them and forget about them because they are just that awful. And that's fine. But I think that here's the problem, is that what if you were faced with that situation every single day? What would you do? Well, and it would impact you differently depending on who you are. So if you're a woman, for example, you're going to try to go either early in the morning or late in the evening when the sun is low to protect your privacy. Well, unfortunately, that leaves you vulnerable for either sexual assault or rape. If you are a young girl, well, only 1 in 6 schools in rural India actually has a toilet. So if you're a girl that goes to one of those other 5 schools and you reach puberty, where are you going to change your pads? So 40% of all the girls in India that drop out of school, the reason they drop out is because their school has no toilet. So India is essentially depriving itself of its future generation of female leaders. Now, if you're a man, well, men in India are traditionally the breadwinners, and so about $10 billion are lost every single year in India because of lack of productivity due to the time spent searching for a place to defecate. So that's going to be about an hour every single day. That's $10 billion. So going beyond that, if you look at the whole family, well, if you have 650 million people defecating outside, you have 100,000 tons of untreated human waste left outside every single day. Just try to imagine how unhygienic that is and what that does to the health of a society. So everyone's going to be getting sick all the time. So clearly, defecation outside is impacting everyone in a lot of different ways. 2 of my very best friends, Suzanne and Chandler, they're here tonight. And they have a dog. Her name is Annie. And I love going on walks with Susanna and Chandler and Annie, and I think they already know where I'm going with this. But Annie is great, and I love watching her poop, which might sound weird, but it's actually quite glorious. So I want to recreate it for you. So she'll squat down, and then as soon as she's done pooping, she literally just sprints as fast as she can in the other direction. And I really honestly think this is symbolic of our human relationship with waste. I mean, I don't think we literally actually sprint out of the toilet every time we shit. But I think what happens is that I honestly think that we have this great aversion to our own waste, and we hate talking about it. And to be perfectly honest with you, that's completely unfair. Because there's 40% of the world that has to deal with this on a daily basis. And they can't flush it out of sight or out of mind. And so I want to leave you with one thought, and that is, the next time you are sitting on your toilet, I want you to remember that what you have is in fact a privilege, when it really ought to be a right. Thank you.